Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and there's 2 different levels that you can, subscribe to, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon. And the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows. So if you are far away and you couldn't make our last live show, it will be on the website. We're going to record this future live show. It's going to be on Patreon, but also bonus episodes each month. You guys tell us all the time you want more episodes. This is a way for you to get more episodes. So you're going to get our basic Tuesday, Thursdays that we always put out, right? But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
I can't wait to talk about in detail some more stories because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
They just unsubscribed. This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. So if that is breaking some of your hearts, just go ahead and subscribe now. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/Bloody Happy Hour.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this is your Bloody Happy Hour. Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody happy hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
Oh, and this is Caroline.
Turn Up Tuesday.
Turned up. We are turned up.
And you know it's Tuesday, and you know what this means. This is Quickie Day. But before we jump into our Quickie, we want you to go get some better help. There's a specific website, and it has a / of bloody. What is it, Caroline?
It's you can go to BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/bloody, and you can get 10% off. What you are going to get is a licensed therapist, and you just go online, you fill out a questionnaire, and you'll get matched with somebody, and then you'll have your sessions. And if you don't like the person or you don't vibe or connect, you can always switch to a different therapist. And it's pretty great because who doesn't need more better help?
Especially these days.
You need better help.
Better. All right, so go and do it. And also, if you don't know, we have a Patreon, and that is where we drop all of these episodes ad-free. It is also where we drop any bonus episodes that we do. So like we just did a little secret live show downtown, and you will hear that there. And then when we put just a bonus episodes that does not go out on iTunes or Spotify, that goes to Patreon only.
Ma'am, iTunes?
What's it called? Apple Podcast.
I know, but iTunes is like, yes, we used to.
Is that old?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think it's
Can
still
you get
a thing.
podcasts? It is. I got iTunes on my phone.
You do?
Because I downloaded music a ton of times.
But it's Apple Music and Apple Podcasts. I don't think there is iTunes anymore. Is there? Is it on your iPod?
I don't have my iPod. So you go there and you subscribe and hear us uncut.
Ooh,
so go and do it.
Scary. So today we're just gonna go through a few short stories. Maybe we're gonna do a few updates, a few news stories, and they're just gonna be pretty quick. Every one of them is quick, just kind of touching base with all the different things going on. And you sent me this one, April. This was Carly Madison Gregg. She's a 14-year-old girl from Mississippi, Brandon, Mississippi.
Okay.
And she was charged with shooting her mom and her stepdad. And she killed her mom, and her stepdad was just wounded. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So she is accused of killing her mom, Ashley Smiley, who's 40 years old, and injuring her stepfather with a pistol. So it's Rankin County Sheriff's Office. They responded to the call, and when they got to the scene, they found the stepdad. He had a gunshot wound in his shoulder. Then they found the wife dead. And when he got home, he said that his stepdaughter had the gun in her hand, shot at him in the shoulder. He was able to wrestle the gun away from her. And then she fled the scene, like across the backyard. Like she's like running away. I don't even know why she did. So it's like 5:30 on this day, and the choppers are coming out, police are coming out, and they're searching for her, search and rescue situation. And they eventually find her, take her into custody. She's arrested on murder and attempted murder. She's currently in the juvenile detention center. Her mom was a math teacher at Northwest Rankin High School, where her daughter, the shooter, also was a student at. And then a neighbor said, you can't fathom these kinds of thoughts. You just wouldn't think that the child would do anything like this. It just feels like there's something missing. There's something wrong. It's like a level of caution that you just don't think something like this will happen, which of course you never do.
You don't.
But I don't know. That's all. She pled guilty. Oh, she pled not guilty to the charges, and her bond is set at $1 million. That's 1,000,000. That's 1 million, right?
And we have no idea why.
I don't know why. It didn't say
made her
why.
mad.
It didn't. I don't even. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Completely random and
so
just
did your mom piss you off at school? It's like,
I mean,
and then you go home.
I'm waiting for the salacious details to come out about like maybe the mom was like sleeping with her boyfriend or something, like sleeping with the girl, like the kid's teenager boyfriend. Or like, there's got to be something.
Or was starving her because the mom looked like she was pretty like frail and
like you don't just shoot your mom. You got to have a reason.
Well, we do a lot of stories where the kids just shoot their mom. So we don't know which one it is.
That's true.
Is she Chandler Halderson or is she
I mean, at least Chandler
was her mom a
really
Ruby
put
Frankie?
work in.
Yeah.
Chandler put some work in. I mean, he had to like do a lot of sawing. Yeah, he did a lot of sawing.
She didn't have time for that.
No.
She was just like, let me just get it done.
He scattered the bodies.
But that's a girl. Like, girls don't make a lot of mess when they kill.
Speaking of girls that don't make a lot of mess, this one did. Do you remember Carly Russell?
Yeah.
You know, with the Cheez-Its, the one who okay, let's just recap.
A kid walking on the side of the road.
Recap it.
Okay.
Homegirl was driving. Carly's driving down the street. She's driving on the highway. She sees a child
in a diaper
on the side of the highway in a diaper. So she pulls over on the side of the road to rescue the child. And then all of a sudden, her wig fall off, her flip-flops fall off, and she's been taken. And where is she? Nobody knows. Her phone is dropped off, and there's no kid. So what happened? And then apparently she was kidnapped by a truck driver, and they took her to this hotel, and they were so nice to her. They fed her Cheez-Its, and they brushed her hair, and they did her nails.
We made her undress.
They made her undress. That's it. And they did take
photos.
Didn't
ask her put her clothes back on.
Yeah, they're like, bitch, put your shit back on. We are not taking photos. Okay. And actually the whole story was false and made up and completely a lie.
She pulled a Papini.
So Carly Russell had a hearing today.
Okay.
And she is going to be serving no jail time.
Okay.
However, she's sentenced to 1 year probation, $18,000 in restitution.
I thought we did say this. It only happened today?
This literally came out today. And
she
has to...
because we knew the restitution, but we didn't know what she was actually going to have, if she was going to have to do time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And she has to do 100 hours of community service. Now,
and she should.
Absolutely. And I feel like that
$18,000.
I mean, well, and that's good because how many resources did they use to like they were searching like what for 2 or 3 days?
Listen, if I'm gonna pay you $18,000, I don't want to do no community service.
Hell no. Well,
Unless I could do some community service to take some of that money off.
listen, she
Can you take some money off
threw
my
Cheez-Its
check?
under the bus, and that's
Maybe
she get what
Cheez-Its-
you gonna get.
Maybe Cheez-Its sales went up during that time. Cheez-Its might need to pay her for
They
sponsorship.
probably should. That's probably why she got so much of a charge. Let me give you a couple of updates, and then we'll go to Riley Strain. But let's talk about. Let's go to Chad Dorman.
Oh, yes.
So we can,
Recap.
okay, recap is this guy, for a reason we do not know why, he just all of a sudden decided to shoot his 3 young boys who were like probably like 3 and 5 and 7. I don't know. They're very young boys. He shot them all. I think he did shoot his wife. So he had a wife, he had 3, and they had 3 boys, and there was a daughter, but I think it might have been his stepdaughter.
The daughter took off running, and
So he shoots the boys, kills them, shoots his wife, who's the mother of the boys, in her hand, basically like
because she was blocking,
trying to block.
Yeah.
Yes, but he obviously did not shoot to kill her.
Mm-mm.
And then I think the older child who ran away was escaping, and so she didn't have any shots, luckily. So as the police get there, it's all on body cam footage, and they take him away. He says that he admits that he did it. They get him in the questioning, like they interrogate him and all these things and blah, blah, blah. He's confessed. And we're like, okay, so what's the next step? It's guilty phase. Just punish him and put him to jail, and he can get beaten and raped and all this stuff. And that's great. But this week it came out that the judge has thrown out his confession. Okay. So let me tell you what happened. There are 4 things, at least in this state. This is where are we at? I don't even know what state we're at. Well, maybe you look it up.
Colorado, Tennessee. I don't remember.
Colorado, Tennessee, Florida, Texas. There's 4 things that you must be warned of before questioning.
Oh.
And so it goes, number 1, the right to remain silent. Number 2, these are the Miranda warnings.
Ohio.
Number 2, anything he says can be used against him in a court of law. Number 3, and listen to number 3. This is what the officers should say to him when giving the Miranda warnings. You have the right to talk to an attorney for advice before we ask you any questions, and have a lawyer with you during questioning. Number 4, if you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed. Okay, now these are what was read to him. Number 1 is the same, right to remain silent. Number 2 is the same, anything he says can be used against you in a court of law. Number 3 was a little different. So they said, you have the right to talk to a lawyer before we ask you any questions, but they left out, and to have a lawyer with you during questioning. So since they left, and number 4 was, if you can't afford an attorney, it will be appointed for you. That was the same. So since they left out that one little phrase at the end of that 3rd one, they get to drop the confession because he was not appropriately warned of his Miranda warnings, which.
But you have the right to remain silent, and he didn't.
But they didn't read the rights properly.
He could have still just shut up.
Which he did. He did, and he said, I think I need to have my lawyer here.
Okay.
I think I need to have but then they kept questioning him, which they do, but
only because all the police came.
Okay, so here's the thing. So the state will have overwhelming evidence against him. So like, no worries. Even though this is going to be thrown out, his confession, they have the wife and the child who were at the scene, who one of them was injured, which was the wife, shot in the hand. There's body cam footage from when they picked him up and whenever they saw everything, and they saw the guns and the gun, and they saw the kids on the property. And that's where he was, so it's obvious, and that they saw that it was him, and they saw that he had the weapon that was used to shoot them. So there's plenty of evidence, so it's like it's going to be okay. It's just one of those things. So what I heard was the defense team got a small win due to law enforcement making some serious mistakes, not being thorough enough, not reading every word, not fully explaining things, which, I mean, you have to make sure that you do those things for the worst criminals, for the worst people, especially for the worst people, to like cross your T's, dot your I's, do everything. And basically you can't step on the rights, even if it's the worst people. You got to give them their rights. They got to have their rights. But I'm looking at it in a positive way. Like, okay, great. That's fine. Throw it out. There's plenty more. But it still is. I mean, you hate to see it. You hate to have it. The law's the law, but the guys, you know what? The law, I don't even know what the law is anymore. Because there's so many jurisdictions out here that are like so shady and are doing crooked things that it's so much corruption. It's unreal. Yeah, it is.
But like, what could he possibly say, or like, what can the defense?
I don't know why you wouldn't just say you're like, okay.
What picture can they paint? Can they blame it on the mom? Like, I don't understand. If they're not doing mentally insane, but it seems like they would have done that a long time ago. Like, he would have already been in the hospital.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, and welcome to Bustles and Bangers with your hostess, Rachel and Christopher.
I love it when you say my name.
And you didn't say hi.
I didn't. You just kept going. I'm going to introduce the book. I'm not reading it. It's because I don't like reading.
Girls like cowboy butts, and those jeans don't hide anything. Find us on Instagram at Bustles and Bangers or on RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Hey, I'm Blair.
And I'm Brittany. And we're the host of
By the Cover Podcast.
We cover everything from mysteries, thrillers, romance, chick lit, and even some smut.
Don't forget the smut.
Yeah.
We're so excited to get this thing going and share this with you guys. We've been talking about this for months, and it's finally happening.
Yes.
Special shout out to Rogue Media for helping us with this.
For sure. You can find us on Instagram at bythecover_podcast.
You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok, so don't forget to give us a follow on those two also.
And we are so excited to dive into some of our favorite books and share those with you.
We can't wait. Hope you love it.
So it's kind of reminds me of this case, Crystal Candelario. It's bad.
Why?
Okay, but listen. So what she did was she left to go on a trip to Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
For 10 days, but she lived in Detroit, so in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a 16-month-old. And she decided she was going to leave the 16-month-old at home in the playpen for 10 days while she went on a vacation.
Oh, my God.
10 days.
What?
She left 2 bottles. She pled guilty. It's obvious that you did it. I don't know why he wouldn't plead guilty. But let me go back to this case. This just happened. I just heard about this week. This girl she did get sentenced. She was like, she left the kid. She went with the guy to Puerto Rico.
I hate a thirsty bitch.
Left the kid 2 bottles. And this poor child, trigger warning, because it's bad. I mean, it's like
emaciated
feces.
Oh my God.
On her mouth, inside of in her cavity.
Oh.
So she's like pooping on herself.
How did they find
trying
out?
to eat her poop? Well, because she finally gets back from her 10-day vacation, and then she decides she needs to call 911 because her daughter's not breathing.
Oh my God.
So she calls.
Did she die? Oh, she did die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was already dead. Yeah. So then she's like, she's not breathing and she's blue.
Oh my goodness.
She was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. And
Yes.
the judge said, and hopefully they'll serve you water and food.
And shit.
I mean, it was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But I don't know why when it's so obvious.
Just drop your kid off.
Do something. Go bring it to the fire station. Like what are you just like
that thirsty? I hate a woman that's that thirsty for a man that they'll do that to their kids.
I wouldn't even leave my dog alone for a day, much less 10 days. And my dog has a dog door, and so he can go out it. But I'm just saying, like,
she's the worst.
That's the devil.
That is
you're awful.
That's worse to me than like shooting them.
Yeah, you're just like letting
that
them
is
starve and
suffering.
Suffer.
Wow.
Yeah, and they talked about how much she did. So, yes, it was bad. Bad, very bad. We're gonna get to we're gonna go to a funnier update, but let's talk to
10 days. I can't get over that.
I know, 10 days. Yes, awful. She was sentenced Monday to just this past Monday to life in prison.
They're gonna get her ass in prison. They will get her.
So bad. The act, it was the ultimate act of betrayal, said the judge. I mean, you're helpless. You literally cannot do things for your, like.
Wait, how old was the baby again? 18 months?
15 months.
Oh my gosh.
In a playpen. Like, you can't even get out of the playpen.
No.
Why are you even having, like. Okay. So we're going to go to Riley Strain or Corey Richins.
I can't get off of it.
I know.
You should say that one for last.
Oh, I know, but I'm going to save Corey Richins because that one's a little bit lighter. So we're going to go with Riley Strain. Okay. He's the Tennessee kid that everybody's looking for. He's trending on Twitter daily. What the hell happened to him? I think he had to have gone in that river. So this is the one where this kid was in Nashville. He was at Luke Bryan's bar. He was apparently at this bar. He just had one drink, and then he was kicked out. So I don't know.
They said he had enough, and now it just came out that he was at 2 bars previous to Luke Bryan's bars. So he was at 2 bars. Luke Bryan was the 3rd bar. They served him 1 drink and said they had enough, and so one of his fraternity brothers walked him down, but fraternity brother went back in and wasn't on camera or did not leave the bar with them.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So the update is police have released body cam footage from an officer who had a brief encounter with him the night that he went missing. And they say that he did not appear to be in any sense of danger. So they asked him, "Hey, how's it going?" And he was like, "It's going good." Like, he just sounded totally fine. And there's a series of I think 3 they have him coming, they have him walking along that building, stumbling. They have him kind of walking past that food truck where he goes into the little jog and then slips and falls. And then they have him on the body cam. I think those are the 3 that we have. So on the night he went missing, just like what you said, he had that one drink at that bar and 2 waters, but he had previously gone to those other bars. And security footage blocks away. Over the weekend, they found one of his debit cards on the embankment of the Cumberland River, I guess, which this was located by TikTokers, and their police are getting a bunch of shit, saying that they're not doing enough.
Because why haven't they done sonar or anything?
I mean, have they? I heard also that Texas Echo Search is going to be there tomorrow. So we're recording this right now on a Thursday. You're going to hear this Tuesday, so it would be last Friday. Got it?
So Tim Miller's about to go up there.
So yes, that's what I heard. He's about to go up there Friday. They Also today, they started searching where the Cumberland River flows into this dam, whatever the dam is. They were looking yesterday and today at the dam. And also Ross, the homeless guy, who was seen wearing his shirt. There was throw up on the shirt.
I thought they said that the shirt wasn't real, that was just a rumor.
That has been all over
Enton.
It's that. I don't know. When did you hear that? Like,
I just saw it on Twitter. I just saw it twice that they said that they thought. So I don't know.
Listen, I was talking to somebody and I was like, and they were like, "Oh, did you hear about that a homeless guy was wearing his shirt?" And I said, "How do they know it's his shirt? Maybe do you not think that somebody else has the same shirt?"
It is a weird shirt.
But it's a very particular, distinctive shirt.
Yeah.
Plus, if it had throw up residue on it and it was his throw up, then that's got to be a shirt. So that is, like the latest that I have on that, because I'm pretty sure, at least those were the latest that I saw with Riley Strain. And he's been missing since March 8th. And there's a difference in the way if you look at the way his mom reacted based on the way Madeline Soto's mom reacted for your missing child, or at least she knew that, just like the emotion and like the genuine, like,
gosh,
she was,
it's heartbreaking.
Riley's mom was way distraught, much more than Madeline's mom. And Madeline was a 13-year-old girl. Awful. Since March 8th, they have just, people are just saying they think he has to be in the.
News Nation reported it, so maybe so.
Yeah, I think
I saw just
they
two different places.
Well, I think they confirmed it once they had once they realized there was like throw up on it, which is
on a railing.
Yes,
which had vomit on it, so they had found clothing item on a railing.
Because that's where Ross, the homeless guy, said he.
But where he said he found it doesn't add up.
Well, none of this shit adds up, but hopefully once EchoSearch gets there, they will be able to.
So maybe they're not doing sonar if the river flows so quickly. There's no point in doing sonar right there because, they're looking towards the dam, which is where the body's going to go.
Wouldn't it have floated up already? I know, because you got the talk, like you sink at first, and then you got it releases all the gases, and then you float. I would think he'd be floating by now.
I don't know.
So it's
I
real
hate
bad.
it. I hate it. And what's
so
crazy? Okay, so I'd like to know, where's the rest of his wallet? If he had the rest of his wallet, or did he just take his card with him? So would that have easily been, misplaced? And then they said that the card
was so
just
clean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, well, what if the rain and I don't know. I cannot believe that TikTokers
Where's the rest
found
of it? Yeah.
the card. And then they said that I don't know. I've heard different things on the phone and the watch. Like they went off simultaneously. They didn't, I don't know. But hopefully, like I said, next week we'll find something else out new. But let's finish with Corey Richins, because she's quite the character. She's the one who's the Utah mom who her husband died. And then a year later, she decides that she wants to write a book about grieving, how to grieve the loss of your dad, because they had 2 or 3 kids. I can't remember. And he died from a lethal dose of fentanyl.
In his, would she give it to him in his, what's the drink? Moscow Mule. Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to ask you, April.
Do I like Moscow Mules?
Listen, I almost, how sometimes I call you Rachel. And so I see Richins and April, and I think Rachel. So I want to ask you, how's your relationship with your in-laws?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people don't have great relationships with their in-laws.
Okay.
So what we learned this week, have you heard this?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So there was a search warrant for Corey Richins, and it was in this case for her mom. Okay, so search warrant for her mom.
Okay.
Lisa Darden. Okay. So she was being looked at. We just found this out. She was being looked at by law enforcement because she had a romantic relationship with her partner. She had a female partner. And this partner died unexpectedly.
Darden's did.
Yes. Mama Lisa's girlfriend died unexpectedly. Shortly, she died, like right before she died, Mama Lisa was named the beneficiary of her estate.
Like mother, like daughter.
And by the way, did I mention that this lady died from a overdose of oxycodone?
That is not funny. It's ridiculous.
I know, but like, what are the chances?
It's ridiculous.
Like, however, this was something she was prescribed, and it was something that she had been struggling with, but it was not one of the circumstances where she started it and then she stopped it and then she relapsed. Like, she had it under control.
Yeah.
So law enforcement made the connection that the mother's close proximity to the unexpected death of her girlfriend. And then it was like shortly and then they're like, okay, she was just recently made the beneficiary. And this is just also part of it was that Mama had been at Corey and Eric's house earlier in the evening of the night that he died.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So it is possible. This is what law enforcement said, quote, "It is possible she was involved in the planning and orchestrating of Eric's death. They also said that there was quite a bit of communication between Corey and her mother, indicating not only the closeness of the relationship, but the fact that Corey's mother had, quote, disdain for Eric Richins."
He was the good one of the two.
So the question is, will she be charged? Or has she been charged? No, she hasn't been charged with anything. Will she be charged? We don't know. Maybe not. It's the suspicious death of her girlfriend was in 2006. So that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But there's no statute of limitations for homicide cases. So maybe they can look it up and they can.
But how do you prove it?
However they be proven things. So
I wouldn't even know.
Most likely, I mean, law enforcement is going to keep a very close eye on jail communications because she has lots of phone calls and they're pretty entertaining. And especially they're going to focus on calls between her and her mom because if you remember, and if y'all remember, there was a letter and it was the Walk the Dog letter. That was the title of this letter that Corey wrote. She wrote this letter to her brother, but there was instructions to her mom about certain things or like, hey, like do this, don't say this, say this. And it's just very strange how she's like has these secret code, like walk the dog. Like, what does that even mean? That means something specific. And so it's just an interesting twist. And I mean, let's be honest, the true crime writes itself.
Didn't see it coming.
Now, the good news is we get a preliminary hearing on May 15th. So it's going to be televised as well.
Do you think that this could, like if they'll obviously try them separately if they bring charges against mom. So could Corey's defense turn it around and just blame it on mom? And then Corey get off?
Maybe.
Corey's probably the type of bitch that'll be like, yeah, I think that's my mama.
Apparently there's a bunch of communications between the drug dealer.
Drug dealer, that's
and
right.
the drug dealer has completely given every single thing. Like,
that's right. Okay.
Everything from the phone, from messages on her or I don't know if it's a he or she, the drug dealer, but drug dealer's phone, like spilled all the beans.
Okay, good.
So I don't think that will happen. But unless she aided or helped her or like gave her, I don't know. I don't think it's just an interesting twist. I don't think anything will happen from it, but I think it's just
okay. Like, how are you that evil to then you teach your kid to be that evil. Hey, I did this and it worked for me. Why don't you try this? Like, no.
It is interesting how they both tried to get their estates. Like,
Yeah.
because Corey tried to get
Same
Eric's.
MO.
Yes.
It went back and forth like twice. The
Yeah.
whole will.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's
And
sad.
we're supposed to be having the Delphi case. It's supposed to start in May, and that's a whole shit show. And that whole Delphi, Indiana, I don't know if anybody's from there who listens, but it's completely corrupt based on my opinion and a lot of other people's opinion, because the judge is shady, prosecution is shady, law enforcement is shady. They're all covering up for these
something.
Odinites or whoever the hell they
Uh-huh.
are. And Richard Allen, I think, is completely innocent. He's just being used as a punching bag, and they're like, oh, let's just pin it on him because we're all in this freaking cult together. It's got me mad. It's got a lot of people mad because they're trying to, they brought new charges against him just the other day. And they lost all these interviews that police did with all these other people, and they just happened to just
All the
lose
Odin
them.
people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some bullshit.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of
So much
Indiana.
news. Yes.
There is a bar and grill, bar house that we've been taking the back roads to. And our bartender is from Indiana. So, of course, I got to ask, how close are you to Delphi? And she was like, oh, it's maybe an hour away. But she knew nothing about the case because she's younger.
Well, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to move. Oh, wait, that's Coburger. I'm just saying, like, they're trying to move these cases. They're like, oh, we need to change a venue. But it's like, we find jurors who don't know anything about it, who live in, like, for Murdaugh, we found him. For Johnny Depp, we found him. For everyone, we found. So
that aren't.
It just goes to show you that you can find people who don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
Who aren't obsessed with true crime and know everything about every single case, even though I can't fathom it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
She knew nothing about it, okay? So then, but she did say when she got to Waco that she saw the Waco massacre, the David Koresh story on Netflix, the new one that came out for the 30th anniversary. I think it's called Waco Massacre or something. So then she said she watched it when she first got here. And there was a guitar player that was coming to play there, and he needed a ride home. And her fiance is friends with this guitar player. So he needed a ride home one night. So they give him a ride home. Now, this bar and grill is Hallsburg, Elk area, like out towards Double E Ranch Road, which is where the compound is. So they leave the bar and grill and they drive and they take a ride on Double E Ranch Road and they take a right into the gate and they see freaking compound. He lives on the compound. I recognize the last name because I interviewed the dad. His dad is the new head of the Branch Davidian compound.
How do they still even have it going? Do they build a new one? I know I've asked you this multiple times.
There's a new church there, yeah.
So they built a new church.
And there's like trailer
did they
houses.
Have the compound?
Compound is burned down.
Did they rebuild one?
Nope, just a church. And then there's like
are they trapping?
Trailer houses and stuff out there.
But they're not doing what he did.
They are not Christians, they are Davidians.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're the weird religion. They think that he is innocent. I mean, we kind of talked about all that, but they're very different, but allegedly they're not.
So when do we predict the next?
But what was crazy is that's what David Koresh used to do. He used to go into town and play at the local bars, play the guitar. He had his band.
That's the guy who's going to be the next David Koresh.
He's the next one. He's the next one.
Oh, we deserve to be on
So
Nancy Grace
random.
for this. We
So random.
need to call up Nancy and be like, bitch, have us on.
I was like, what? Yeah.
That is wild. I bet they were like, oh. My God.
I was like,
never given
what?
This.
Bob
so he
Pace?
lives
The
out
daddy's
at
name?
the compound.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how much it is to live there because maybe I'll move out there.
It's probably, I think it's, well, you just got to give all your money to probably Charles Place.
I don't have much of that. So.
Anyways, that is it. That is all that I have. And don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.